the Eagles. What's your take on him and what you've seen so far? Are you sold on him, or do you think the Eagles still need to be evaluating him these next 4 games?
I love him.
Huh?
But he's been with Nick and the Sooners. You can't take a guy from the Rolls-Royce category at college and then send him to a junkyard. So now, but that's what he is. If he'd the equivalent of being the number 1 draft pick and going to the Jets.
To our friend Doc Walker, man. I love this man. He is easily one of the most respected guys. We had Seth Joyner on with us this week. Here's another dude that is also one of the most respected guys in the National Football League. It's Doc Walker, who works on the broadcast of the Washington team. All right, Doc, before I lead you astray here with a loaded question, I want to get your take on what you've seen here. Did the NFL do the right thing here in moving this game to Tuesday?
Yes. I feel bad for the Broncos because they had to play with a kid that wasn't prepared to lead them properly. And that is unfortunate. But he also got paid. And with a practice squad, you don't have to go to class. All they do is football. You ought to be able to get a guy to play college football. And if you got 48 hours or so and he's been around it for money, you perform. And I saw Joe Gibbs take a group of guys that just met a week earlier and perform at a very high level. So it's pro ball, no excuses. Go out there and maybe a star is born.
Doc, I said the same thing. I go, look, the players are going to be whining, and maybe rightfully so, especially on the Philadelphia side here. But at the end of the day, you got to put that stuff behind you, right? There's 60 minutes of football to be played on Tuesday. And you and I know this. Maybe it's the Today kid or something, and I don't want to sound like get off my lawn, old man. But I don't care if I don't care if you play that game on a roof, on a Tuesday, on a Thursday. I don't care, man. This is about playoff. This game against Washington and Philadelphia, do you agree? This is a playoff game, no matter what day it's being played.
Dan, I called the playoffs 3 weeks ago for Washington. You got to be in a playoff mindset, one and done, because they were 2-6. They went 4 in a row, and for some reason they got off course. You know how it is. Success is far harder to deal with than failure. And so they come out flat. Don't ask me why. Dallas did not have their A game, and that they were vulnerable. Whenever their 2 stars are limping, you got to take them out. And they didn't take them out. To Dallas's credit, they found a way to get the job done and get the hell out of here. They'll get healthier. They had players coming back. They are forced to be reckoned with. But you know how this is, man. We played outdoors every day. These kids played on Atari. So we was out. We were playing in the backyard. We were playing on the blacktop in the street. So this ain't nothing for us. But if you've been in your condo, apartment, or chalet, and you've been playing with Madden, and you've been playing all the electronic games, this is a shocker for a lot of these kids. I get it. But for us, wouldn't have been a problem. We play arena. We play CFL. We don't care what it is, as long as we got a chance to compete against somebody. Count us in. These guys, select. They were given stars. They got trophies for just being alive. And so their whole makeup is a little different. You got to be really touched to be able to coach these people because they're privileged.
Hey, Doc, I'm the guy you said, man. I played in the NFL. I played in the arena. I played in Canada. I played in the World League, man. I put 7 years of professional football in because I love the game, man. The game, it was more than accolades, cashing checks, and kissing cheerleaders for me, man. I just love the game. You know what I mean?
Hey, I covered the arena. Dude, let me tell you what. I tell people all the time, and Michelle Tafoya, she's getting out. She's getting out of the sideline deal. And I thought about that, man, and I was like going, wow. I remember back in the day, and I never looked at anything other than it was football. You can change the dimensions. They're still hitting. You still got to catch it. You still got to rush the quarterback. You got to block. So I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed flag. I enjoyed CFL. Hey, man, it don't matter because I played in the backyard. I played at the park. Our first introduction is not tackle with pads. It's tackle with nothing on. I mean, so it's flag, but we still going to put a bone on you. I mean, our pickup games, you couldn't get in until you lost. Somebody lost. You had to wait in line and then go out there. And if you were young, you never got to shoot. You had to go defend and go take loose ball. They brought you in our society slowly but surely. And even if the drug boys were there, the dope guys, if they saw something in you, I call them scouts. You knew you had talent when they wouldn't give you a beer. They wouldn't give you a joint. They wouldn't give you anything. They say, dude, get your behind. Am I right?
Oh, no. Hey, Doc, I had an Italian guy, Vinny Gumbatz. Hey, Sileo, come here. I got something for you. I get a C note?
Yeah, and when you went back after you balled out, you went there and you had a brown bag for him. You had a six-pack. You knew what to do to come back and pay your respects. And believe it or not, they were still there. And they were still there. And we got out of there. If not, we'd still be there. And ain't nothing wrong with still being there because I respected them because when I was vulnerable, they never abused it. They said, dude, take your behind on and go to practice. I bet if I ever see you with them, I'll whoop you. And I said, ooh. And that wasn't family. That was family in the hood. And so they were scouts. I call them scouts because they could tell you who did it and how they did it the best and what you needed to do it. I said, okay.
Hey, Doc, I got to tell you a quick story here before we move on to Washington here and how they've gotten better here over the last couple months here. Look, so Luther Campbell's my boy, right? Down at Miami.
Bad boy.
So Luther, hey, man. So all of a sudden he goes, Sileo, man, you're Italian, right? I go, yeah. He goes, well, you ain't no white boy. White boys don't run that fast. Come over here, man. I want you to meet some of my boys over here. And these guys were doing the 6'4s. I mean, it came over with Colt 45s. They're coming going, Sileo, I got some. And you know what, though, man? Every game at the Orange Bowl, they'd be there watching us. Total respect for those dudes. My grandparents used to get plane tickets in the mail. But where'd this come from? That's Uncle Luke. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. That's how I was raised down at Miami, man. That community loved us.
And I'm so happy. I was talking with Santana Moss. I had him on. We did a show together this week. I love Tana and Liberty City. I mean, because I did the ACC for 14 years. When I be down there and you go through Liberty City, well, I'm from Santa Ana, California, in Orange County. And but I've been in South Central, and I went to UCLA. So I knew where to go. You know where to drive. You know where not to drive. I went through Liberty City. And I felt like this is like I feel when I go through Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
There's some areas in Baltimore I don't even stop at stop signs.
Overtown, Liberty City, Liberty City, man, them places.
It ain't no joke. And Tana said, man, I grew up there. And the loyalty, and I pull for the U. I want Notre Dame to be good. I want the U to be good. I really want the Trojans to be good as well, and my Bruins, because it's not the same.
Yeah.
When they're not in the battle. I want competitiveness. I want it to strain at the top. I want it to be King Kong versus Godzilla. In order to get that, you got to have two beasts. And so I love the fact that the U, which is a special environment, what I love about it, I said Santa Ana, the Portis, Sean, all these guys, the fact that they will go back to free weights in a cage, and they go down there every year, all of them. And how inspiring was that? If you were young, you were a freshman, and you looking in that weight room that them dudes, they produce, that's all the incentive you need. Them young boys know they got to go in there and press some iron. There was no air conditioning. There's no sound systems. It's primitive. And them dudes went down there, and they all go down there. I love that, man. I think that's going to come back. I think crystal ball. I just think because he's a Kane.
Hey, we had him on, Doc, in the first hour.
Oh yeah, good dude. I hated him because he was a duck. He was killing my Bruins. I don't know if we ever beat him, but I love the way he approached it, and he's a class act. And it was a tough move. NCAA's got to change this signing period to February. It's got to go back to the way it was when we were coming out. This is not fair to the coaches, institutions, or players to to a bowl game without your coach or without your players now.
Right.
So let's move all this to February.
Hey, Doc, let's get into the Washington team here. What's been the turnaround, in your opinion, for Washington over the last month and a half?
John Allen really is the leader.
Huh.
And he don't say a lot what he does, but he does a lot. They bought in to Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. And when you're 2-6, what else you going to do? Heineke makes things happen. He's not perfect. Very few of them are. And that's what I love about it, is that individually, collectively, powerful. Powerful. They finally figured out they need to do it together. They had guys doing their own thing. Now they do the team thing. They don't give up the outside shoulder at the end. They keep contained. They blast you at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They say, what's the most important thing to me? That's the 9 guys. First 9 guys to me that would come out, it's O-line, D-line. I don't give a damn what else you have on your team. If you give me the understanding that we win in the trenches first, then we broaden this thing out. I don't care who else is on the team. I need to know who my big boys on, O-line, D-line. You know, I would never put a captain out that was under 300 pounds. You never see me being represented by nobody at the middle of the field if they're under 300 pounds. Biggest guy I got on the team is the captain. We go out, so because that's my whole attitude, is that we're going to take your mind and we're going to turn it into a fist fight. It ain't a fashion show. We're not coming out there to see who's the cutest. We're coming out there to find out who's willing to die. And finally, after being 2-6, they made a play. They hung on in Atlanta. And you know how that momentum, you've been on teams that where it just needed a push. We were 0-5.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there. You don't understand this till you had your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Once you do that and you decide, I don't like this. This ain't how I want to go out. Then you flip the script. Then everybody got to buy in. Everybody got a little money. You can all go to the club. You can go to the club in the offseason. We got to get down. I'd say hit in the submarine, man. We ain't got nothing else to do but what's coming up Sunday. In order to get to SoFi in February, this is what we got to do. And I think they bought in. I think this coaching staff is marvelous because they only 4 center. You can't tell because there's no errant snaps. He don't get beat. They had a holding call in Vegas. Really wasn't to me, but I didn't even know he was in the game. That's the mark of a well-coached team. When the backups come, you don't even know who's playing. We lost 2 first-rounders and got better because his talent is cool on draft day. It don't mean you can play. You know what? You don't see cats come in there all heralded. You look at them, 2 practices, you go,
he ain't it.
We blew that. He ain't it. This ain't the guy. And then some guy come in there, he got out of a taxi, you know, and he had a bag with a plastic bag. That's all he had was a plastic garment bag. That boy come up in there, you start running around. We don't have to be in pay. You go, who is that? That's the guy. And we get them on special teams, and we finally making a kick. Then we missed one. We couldn't get a kicker. We blew that. But it's about coverage, guys. And we got a lot of unsung heroes. Nobody wins without unsung heroes. You got to have some stars. I ain't mad at that. But glue guy. Call me a lot of things. As long as you call me glue in there and being a part of the solution, not a part of the problem, then we can win with you.
Are you sold on Tyler Heineke?
No, I'm sold on I'm not sold anybody until they prove they can win and not turn the ball over. I like him. I don't love any of them with a record like they got, but I could fall in love with them if they keep winning. I tell them anything. This is not complicated. You win, you're in. You don't, you're gone. I'm not. It's win or die. It's no. You make money. I'm happy for you, but I'm not gonna keep paying people that don't win. They do that around here. I would never do that. I ain't nobody got people holding out. I wish I had somebody hold out on the team 5-11. I'll tell you where to hold out at. See, but that's not my job. That's their job. I make it very clear. I can lose with anybody. So if I can't win with you, then you're useless to me. And I make it very, very clear. But again, I'm not their coach, G. I have nothing to do with their operation. I'm just telling you what I learned. You know what I mean? It was you get it done or somebody going to do you.
Doc, let me throw this at you, too. I watched that Washington-Dallas game last week, and I came away with this, and you've been in these type of games, and there's also things that you learn from failure. You know, when you get into a position where maybe Washington hasn't been the last couple of years, where all of a sudden you're in a must-win game, you have an opportunity to potentially knock them down. Dallas is still not playing well, I think. I think Dak's not playing a great football right now, and they had it in their hands, and they end up rallying back. 27-20, they end up getting beat. Can a loss like that help them understand that when you're in a game like this, it's not 50 minutes of football, it's not 58 minutes of football, it's 60 minutes of football, because these games come down to usually the last 2 minutes of a game. Can you learn from a game like the Dallas game last week to know that you got to run through the tape?
I believe everything you just said, but they were 2-6.
That's amazing where they got to 6-6.
Yeah. So they already had survived going down the sink, and it's like Micah Parsons. I love him. I just adore this kid.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Doc. Wait a minute, man. People need to do this though. You blocked the guy. I'm going to say. I don't care what you say. That dude ain't LT, man.
No. But nobody is. Nobody's Lawrence. Nobody's Joe Namath. Nobody's Bart Starr. Look, but when people say that, it's the ultimate compliment.
Yes.
Thank God he was raised the right way. He deflected it. That's why I know he's a winner, because he said no.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yep. Yeah, see, because LT, that's what's the beauty. LT Steph, he's MJ, he's Magic, it's a unicorn. It's one of these guys come around, and I always go, and it's sad because I'm gonna tell you something. Carl Banks, he's a bad boy.
Shit, that guy Brad Van Pelt was good.
Van Pelt, 10, Spartan.
Yeah.
Boy, Spartan knocked me out in college. Boy, hit me. He introduced me to college football. I was real cocky, thinking I was coming out. Oh my God! So this is the kind of guys they had. Reasons they were stacked. Okay, and what Lawrence did, and it was play away that was even more impressive. You could not cut him off because he refused to be blocked. He refused to get on. He took no plays off. And I'm just telling you, and I look at Parsons doing it at multiple positions, got thrown in when they got injuries, and they didn't miss a beat. He is a 5-tool guy. In his baseball,
maybe he's more versatile because you could put his hand in the dirt, you could stand him up in a 3, you could send him out on a linebacker. Hell, I saw him with a wideout. Didn't he run a 4.4 something like that? I mean, So this kid's freaky, right?
He is. I can't think of a model because the defenses were different then.
Yeah, that's right.
And how they played. Tampa, 50. I mean, the Bucks. And we've had great linebackers. They were highly versatile, but there's no comp for LT. There's no comp. There's no comp for Reggie.
Right.
And I saw a lot of them. I mean, too tall. All them boys, they bad boys. Randy White, to me, was like LT. Randy went his whole career being double blocked. See, to me, these young punks we have, all in the league, they roll around. I go, son, if you're not doubled, holler back at me when you are. Okay, call me back. If in this league, they judge you by how many people it takes to stop you. And so they ain't thinking about you. And if they might put a back on you, they may consider you. LT, Randy, Manster, Reggie, man, these boys, they ain't never seen single blocking.
Doc, I got to do this to you because you and I see everything, I think, through this same kaleidoscope. This is what I say about Aaron Donald. I watched him the other night, and wait a minute. But Doc, here, follow me here. Here's my problem with Aaron Donald. He's played on a defense in the last 6 years that gives up 5 yards a carry. And he is a tackles for loss and a sack machine. But when you and I played, you're not running the ball on Randy White. You're not running the ball on Reggie White. You're not running the ball on Jerome Brown. You're not running the ball on them dudes. Today's game and defenses are so different. And he's perfect, Aaron Donald, for today's NFL. But my problem is that he's a specialist. He's a pass rusher. He's not a true DT that you and I saw when you're playing true DT like you're talking about with Randy White. Is that fair?
He's in the West. Well, he's in the West. First of all, you're who you play against. John Randall, to me, with the Vikings. You talking about a beast.
Another great one. Sapp.
A beast. Well, Warren's – I pay just to watch Warren Sapp work because he's everything we talk. There's a handful of them. There's maybe a dozen of them. I watch this kid's motor. He's double. They pay attention to him. His team has been trailing. Now, they've had one special season, but so people are trying to catch up. They throw a lot more against him than run.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything he can't do and wouldn't do well. He also needs to be on a better team. The Giants with LT, the Eagles, they had 7 freaks. They front 7.
Even Clyde Simmons was freaking
Clyde
great.
Simmons was a beast. So we go on and talking about doomsday, those fronts. I saw the Steel Curtain, the Purple People Eaters, and
Gang Green.
Mean Green. When you see all those, and I can go all the way back to the Atlanta Falcons back in the day when Nobis was in the middle, and Humphreys was
Claude Humphreys, a hell of a man. God rest his soul.
Woo! So that's why I always think it's errors because rule changes right now. I mean, everything now is so completely different than what it was because now you can't breathe on a quarterback. And poor DBs, they've just been stripped. They're the greatest athletes on every team, and they have been restricted by rule changes for television and scoring. That's why I love Bill Belichick. He threw 3 balls up in Buffalo.
I know.
And what he just basically told Buffalo was that no matter what we've said about you, what's been written about you, we're going to punch your short ribs out. You're not going to be able to even breathe for 3 or 4 days after we get through with you. That's the most humiliating thing I've seen. They just big boyed you. And Bill builds his teams. They're versatile. They can beat you pounding or they can throw on you. How you want to do it? They're just so well coached. And the fact that only 3 passes with a rookie and a running game, they punked the Bills. I thought the Bills
I think they knocked them on their heels, and I think they beat them up for that Tampa game.
They punked them.
They beat him up for that Tampa. Hey, let me get your take on Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Eagles. What's your take on him and what you've seen so far? Are you sold on him, or do you think the Eagles still need to be evaluating him these next 4 games?
I love him.
Huh?
But he's been with Nick and the Sooners. You can't take a guy from the Rolls-Royce category at college and then send him to a junkyard. So now, but that's what he is. It'd be the equivalent of being the number 1 draft pick and going to the Jets. I mean, Philadelphia, now I will give their coach credit. He has now figured out you can't make the kid throw every down. Now when you put him in RPOs and you let him be the guy, he's physical. He's throwing up 450 in the weight room. He's in great condition. He doesn't say a word. He can develop into everything. If you can work for Nick, you can work for anybody.
Yeah.
And how humble he was to not make it about him, but make it about Alabama with Tua. Then go to Sooners, and his standard never changes. Their program is elite, and he rolled right up again. He gives you everything, and it's always worked for him. Now that they're running the ball, I think the kid is he's very dangerous because unlike a lot of the other runners, he's not fragile. This dude is ripped. He lives with the linemen. So now if he'll slide, he's not trying to be nobody else but himself. I love him. And I hope they don't get it fixed until next season. So we need to beat them twice.
Last question for you here on Dak. You saw him last week, and I've made this comment about Dak. But I'll tell you something, man. $42 million, I don't know. Doc. I mean, $42 million, when I see $42 million, I see Patrick Mahomes I see one of those guys, Justin Herbert. I see Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, man. If you don't have all the spark plugs in the engine in Dallas, he's very average.
Well, I could never say Dan average. I could never say average. That boy is accurate.
Okay.
He can make every throw. He can run if need be. He's a better leader than everybody. I take him up. Now I take Aaron Rodgers off talent. Leadership, give me that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy that, and he can't, don't forget, he's still relatively young.
Yes, he is.
And he's in the most dysfunctional environment on earth. Because being with the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, he's like Barnum and Bailey environment he's in. And yet, different coach. He's got a coordinator. I think they're blending.
Yeah.
Now the defense is kind of getting back together. And he doesn't have his bell cow 100%, but they got depth. They're loaded with talent. I just think I'd pick him as the leader. He's athletic enough. Is he with Mahomes and the 11? No, not as a pure pair. I agree with you on that. But they're not where he's at when it comes to doing the things he's capable of doing. The dude is grit tough. He's not an egomaniac. And that's the biggest thing about your quarterback. You want to be able to go out and do a few shots with him. And if you can do that with the guy, but he'll be the first to say, guys, I'm out of here. And you say, drive safely. You know what I mean? That's the way I want my quarterback. I don't want my quarterback hanging out with you 24 hours. I don't need him to do that. I need him to do enough and then take his behind home and watch film. That's Prescott. I can't go against him, but I agree. Now, the money there's a lot of guys being overpaid, and I ain't mad at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Doc.
We got a lot of owners being overpaid. We got a lot of coaches that being overpaid. So I am not mad at them.
How about this, Doc? I'd love to have been in the locker room with Joe Jacoby, Russ Grimm. I'd like to have seen you guys after a loss and what that room was like. And if anybody said anything, or if a young guy would say, because those teams were so dominant and so tough, and they beat teams up, man. That was an era where, the Giants were great. The Eagles were good. The Skins were spectacular. Niners were great. That must have been some room to be in with all those alpha dogs that just refused to lose, including Joe Gibbs.
Well, you practice with them. You know it. You've been on great teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's that, 40-play script on Wednesday and Thursday, live goal line, 5 goal line, live. I mean, special teams. I mean, the teams that won the most worked the hardest and really party the least, because you got to keep it all in perspective. Now, the offseason, I can't be held accountable. But I think during the season, you got to make up your mind. Because like we learned it the hard way, is that when you lose in a Super, you lose one, you start looking back going, damn, did I have to close confettis? Couldn't I just, left it 12? Everything that you do, you're going to go back and second guess yourself and go, was it me? Did I do it? So just sell out. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment. You don't get it back, but you can't let it go away. You get that far, man, you got to finish. And in order to finish, it's a long struggle. But going with those guys that you got a chance to pop a top with and put down a Bud Light or 2 or 3 or 4 or case, and then make sure that's the beauty of youth. And then to make sure everybody makes it home. It's a different world then, man. We used to have some law enforcement officers that made sure that we got home safely, and that that's how close it was.
Yeah.
All that's over now. Because now, we live in a world now where there's cameras everywhere. I tell my kids, I wouldn't trade with you suckers for nothing in the world. You got phones that people can view you on. You can't. Remember, we had a busy signal. Your girl couldn't call you. Somebody tried to call you. Burr, burr, burr. You couldn't be tracked. Now, man, you're living in a society where you are tracked 24/7. I'll take our youth.
Thank you very much. Hey, Doc, I know you're busy all the time, and I thank you so much for finding time for me. I apologize about last week. Thank you again for doing this for me.
I thought you were injured. that felt like a car wreck. It felt like, I mean, Dan's a pro. You got millions of people. You're a pro. I'm going, well, I don't hear nothing from him. I come in from Manassas. I go, got to be something happened to him. I was just making sure you were okay.
I love you, Doc.
Because I knew something was wrong. Because
hey, Doc,
this. Look, we're both stealing. Okay, we're stealing. Because anytime you can do this, for a living, then I mean, we're the luckiest guys in the world, and people respect you. They want to be on with you because they know that you've been in the trenches, you've bled, you've had surgeries, you've had disappointments. You've been rejected. You've been pissed on. I mean, everything that happens. Everybody thinks this is easy. There is nothing easy about this until it's over, and you ain't have to do it no more.
And you know what? Sometimes, Doc, when it's over, it's even worse because you know what I tell people when it's over? You love your wife, you love your family, you'll always have them near and dear to your heart, but your true love is football. And when it's been taken away from you because it's a forced divorce and you have to leave it, something you bled, you loved, and you held close to you, and you didn't want anyone getting one of your chairs, that when that forced divorce comes, that may be even because people ask me, and I know you say the same thing. You and I see the world, I think, through the same kaleidoscope. Would you do it again, Dan, with the 14 surgeries that you've had on your body? And I look at them and I'd go like this. I wouldn't give a GD moment up for it.
Right.
Thank you, Doc.
Right. And that's sick. Love you, man.
Love you too, good. Doc. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. Doc Walker, part of the broadcast team for the Washington team. Man, I love that dude. Was in the trenches with all them guys and the Hogs back in the day. We'll take a brief timeout, get back to you. We'll take a look at this weekend's games. You keep it here on the National Football.